Am I the butthole for asking my cousin for the wedding gift back after she said I wasn't welcome at the reception? Using the butthole. My 20 female cousin Isabel, 26 female, is getting married in January. I chose a set of Royal Albert plates from the gift registry and they've already been delivered. The invitation said the ceremony would be first, followed immediately by meals and guests would start making their way to the reception hall. Invitation also said to be prepared for a night of drinking and dancing at the reception. A couple of days ago Isabel called me, we made some small talk. She then said she wanted to call just to confirm I knew the reception was more for partying, and it isn't really suitable for me considering I'm not even 21. I said I'm fine drinking water and soda, but she replied the capacity for the reception hall is smaller so they're not including younger guests. Mind you, this is a child-free wedding so there isn't really any younger guests. I get not wanting to have kids around for the reception. Isabel said I'm invited to the ceremony and dinner. I was confused and told her this is really weird. The invitation said ceremony and reception. She replied she's sorry for the misunderstanding but it said there would be drinking and stuff. Eventually I told her okay, I respect that, but if she could kindly send the plates back so I can get a refund. Isabel asked why, because I'm going to be there for the most important part and they've included me in the catering. I said I was expecting to attend the entire wedding, not half, and I bought the gift based on that. I might not attend at all now, so she needs to send the plates back and I'll decide another suitable gift, if any. She said no one takes back gifts and it's not like I'm uninvited. If I don't want to come now that's on me and I've already gotten the gift. I also got a text from my other cousin, Isabel's sister, that I'm making a scene. She's 19 by the way and attending the reception. I know another cousin the same age as me is attending the reception, and I think Isabel's talked to other relatives about it. My fiancé thinks I'm okay though. So was I the asking to return the plates? Edit. I have a small update. I just got off the phone with my mom because I wanted to ask her if they'd picked a gift for Isabel yet, otherwise they can potentially take mine and the whole situation. She said Isabel called her also and said they're welcome to the ceremony, but the reception is more for friends and partying. My parents are definitely above 21 and they also had ceremony and reception on their invitation. Parents were planning to gift money so they haven't given it yet. They think it was really rude of Isabel to invite then uninvite, and they might attend the ceremony but not sure. And I am officially confusion. Why not just have ceremony on our invitations in the first place? Not the butthole. You were uninvited. Of course you're free to request your gift back. Classy? Probably not, but that's not the bride's theme anyways. Not the butthole. She is disrespecting you. You are an adult, not a child. And her sister who is younger than you is going. Not the butthole. If she didn't want younger aged people during reception then she should have informed you before, but she didn't. You gave the gift on the basis that are attending the whole wedding. Since she can suddenly uninvite you from reception then you can also ask for her gift back. To be honest, I feel like she wanted the gift before rejecting you. Sri, cuz I always think of the worst reasons for things happening, but whatever it is you are absolutely right in wanting her gift back. But her relationship with her might be damaged so be ready for that. I don't even think she thinks much of the relationship between you and her since she is uninviting you from reception by not giving a proper reason other than her age and also acting salty ABT returning the gift. Am I the butthole for not wanting my husband's niece to stay with us? My husband has a niece, 16 female, called Jenny. Everyone in the family adores Jenny. I've never met her dad but apparently he is an abusive butthole. Jenny basically lives with her aunts and uncles. The family all dote on her. She can do no wrong. My husband is worse than all of them. We have a 2-year-old son but my husband seems to love his niece more than our son. It's really frustrating because his family doesn't care about our son's accomplishments as much as Jenny, like, oh, your son learned how to walk? Well, Jenny could walk when she was 1 week old. Now the problem, Jenny is supposed to be with us for Christmas. I don't want her here. I want to have Christmas with my son and husband. I want my son to get all our attention. Jenny's other aunts and uncles are all willing to have her on Christmas so I asked my husband to just let her be with them. He got mad at me and said it's our turn and he wants to have his niece with us. I told him I want to have a Christmas for our family only and he called me in butthole and said Jenny is family too. Am I the butthole? You're the butthole. Your son is 2 and won't even remember this Christmas. Stop punishing Jenny because her family love her. It's weird and smacks of jealousy. Jealousy is an ugly color. Jealousy of a 16-year-old, well that's a weather-beaten, mud-stomped ugly color. You're the butthole. Am I the butthole for telling my friend she can't bring her baby to my birthday celebration? Am I the butthole for telling my friend I don't want her to bring her 2-month-old to my 25th birthday celebration? I'm turning 25 in February and was planning a weekend girls trip to Chicago. I have a friend who's about to give birth any day now and our birthdays are 10 days apart. I was hesitant to invite her in the first place since she's about to give birth, but another friend let slip about my party so she basically asked if she could come along too. I said sure, and then she said she would have to bring baby girl along. Now on this trip, I was hoping to cross a bucket list item off my list, taking edibles and going to an aquarium while in Chicago. Finishing the night off with KBBQ and drinking. An environment I wasn't comfortable having a baby around. My friend doesn't see the problem with bringing her 2-month-old along at all. Everyone agrees with me. The baby shouldn't come with. My friend says that since I don't have kids, I shouldn't have a say in how she raises her baby. Am I the butthole? Edit, this will be her 3rd child, my apologies, I should have mentioned above. I've never written a Reddit post before. Skeptical. Not the butthole, it doesn't sound as if you are trying to have a say in how she raises her child, you are trying to have a birthday party consisting of activities totally unsuitable to a 2-month-old baby. Your friend needs to grow up to the reality that when she has a child, she has to be an adult and a parent. That means a change in her social activities. She invited herself along on this outing. It's not a kiddie party, so she probably better rethink that. You shouldn't have a say in how she raises her baby, but you definitely have a say in what you plan for your B-Day weekend. And for the record, I agree with you 100%. A 2-month-old has no business being involved in what you have planned. Not the butthole even a little bit. Having her baby there would completely change your entire weekend. She's being selfish. Not to mention making poor choices as a new mom. Am I the butthole for being a brat about not wanting garlic in my food? So I, 18 female, just got back from college for winter break and this situation happened, so I want to know if I am in the wrong. My parents do not get along. I was a good kid and got good grades, but we started fighting a lot when I was in high school. Long story short, I went to a college 4 states away to get away from the family. My sister, 15, was the one to suck at it. Anyways, I have been back for about a week now and my mom makes this extremely good chicken pot pie. It basically takes all day to make and it is one of my favorite meals. I hate garlic. I don't know why, but I refuse to eat anything if I can smell it in the food. My mom is making the chicken pot pie and I walked into the kitchen and could smell the garlic. I made the comment, "Wow, gone for a few months and you forgot to hate garlic." She just said, "Wow, it's like you don't cook and don't know what is in your food. The pasta I made 2 days ago had garlic and you love that." This started an argument. I was mad that she could hold off on the garlic when I am here and that she tricked me into eating it. The argument continues and she called me a brat that can cook her own food from now on. My sister heard the whole thing and basically said I am an ass and that I am the problem in the house, not our parents. So am I the butthole or problem? You're the butthole. You got called out on eating food with garlic in it and loving it. I bet your mom has been using the same recipe for the pot pie all your life and it has garlic in it. You're the butthole. Your extremely good favorite chicken pie has always had garlic in it. Greater than she tricked me into eating it. Unless she told you there wasn't garlic in it when there was, she didn't trick you. If your mom was trying to feed you alligator or something every meal, I could understand expecting her to not serve it to you. But garlic is a basic ingredient in most meals. If you don't want it, you need to cook for yourself. You're an adult. You're the butthole. You're the butthole in this situation. You're being unnecessarily picky about an ingredient that is the base of so many dishes. It sounds like a mental barrier for you knowing it's there rather than it truly being about it being in the food. You're also not allergic. Get over it or make your own food. Not getting along with your parents is something I can relate to, but it sounds like you jumped at the chance to make a dig at your mom. Do you actually want a relationship with your parents? 'Cause you're going about it all wrong. Am I the butthole for giving my sister a cheap gift for her wedding and not a necklace I myself own? My 23 female sister, 27 female, got married a month ago and the wedding was beautiful and clearly very costly. They had a registry, but almost everything was really expensive. Think Dyson purifier, Fernet candles, etc. She also had a Tiffany alphabet necklace on it. I wear the same necklace, which my husband gifted to me for our wedding last year. I didn't ask for anything and I know he saved up. Tiffany jewelry is absolutely not the regular standard for us. There was an option to give a monetary gift towards the honeymoon, so we ended up gifting $150 and I think it was more than fair. Sister brought up that she noticed I only gave a small contribution to the honeymoon. I said yes, that's the gift. She replied she expected family to be more generous and other siblings/relatives got thoughtful gifts. I could have at least gotten the Tiffany necklace since we can afford it. I told her no, we can't afford it and we gave what we could give. It's not my fault everything on the registry was so expensive. This was at Thanksgiving BTW, there were other people around and I guess they could see the conversation between us was getting heated. My sister said I need to stop acting so self-righteous and they can put whatever they want on their registry, and others did get the gifts so it's just me being cheap. My stepmom overheard and said I could have given a larger monetary amount or split the cost of the necklace with someone else, and I didn't appreciate the effort put into the wedding. I didn't think I was in the wrong here, Reddit, but I'm kind of doubting myself. I guess we could have given more money considering this is family? Am I the butthole? ETA, A lot of comments asking what sister gave for my wedding. I replied to a few, but we'll edit it here. We asked for no gifts and to donate to the American Heart Association, or donate toys for a children's hospital instead. Not the butthole and who puts jewelry on a wedding gift registry? A wedding gift is supposed to be to help the couple start their married life, not to bedazzle the bride. Not the butthole. Most weddings I have been to try to have a variety of price ranges for gifts. I got one friend a cutting board for $35. Another I got them a Yeti growler for under $100. All from their registry. Others even put out just a house fund ask but said please come even if you can't contribute. It's your sister's choice to pick things she wants, but $160 isn't chump change for many of us who are trying to get by. She sounds extremely selfish and greedy. Even more so to call you out on it at Thanksgiving. Not the butthole. Sister and stepmom are both buttholes. You are not obligated to purchase an expensive Tiffany necklace so you insist can be twinsies. That's gall. Depending on your tax bracket, $150 is not cheap. And if this is the Tiffany alphabet letter pendant I saw, it's a $1,600 necklace. No guest picked that out of your registry, your husband gifted it to you for your wedding. If she is really that torqued about it, she really needs to go complain to her own husband and tell him she expected him to not be cheap with his new wife. Not the butthole. You gave what you were comfortable giving. Your sister is being entitled and greedy. Your family doesn't sound like very nice people. Good luck. Am I the butthole for telling my self-centered cousin that her kid could not have my squishmellos? Me 24 female, has a cousin 21 female, who has a daughter 7 female, has always been self-centered. She always thinks that her and her family are the most perfect family who deserves anything. I collect these little stuffed animals called squishmellos that are very popular with kids, and I have a lot of them. This Monday our family had our annual Christmas party, and my cousin and her kid came. Her kid automatically saw my squishmallow collection as you could see inside my bedroom door when you walk through the front door. The first thing she said to me was, "Can I see your stuffies?" And I wasn't going to be rude so I let her. She kept on repeating the same phrase, "I wish I had squishmallows," but I kinda ignored it. She spent her whole time glaring at me and my squishmallows as if she was mad or something. When it was time to leave I saw my cousin's kid crying and my cousin walked up to me. Can't remember exactly what she said, but it was something along the lines of, "Look, you have so many squishmallows and my daughter has none, so can you give her like 5? And I said, "No, sorry, I've been building this collection for a while and I can't just give it away." She scoffed and walked out with her kid. Since then I've gotten many calls from family that I am the a-hole and say I should have just given her the stuffed animals. Am I in the wrong? Not the butthole. Loudly, to child, while maintaining unblinking eye contact with cousin. I'm sure if mommy loved you enough she would buy you all the squishmallows your adorable heart deserves. Not the butthole. I will end up by saying, if you spoil your child you will raise your grandchild, if you raise your child you can spoil your grandchild. Based on the ages I will say there must be a significant level of entitling behaviors going on. Not the butthole. Common thread here, especially the frickin' family piling on you part. The kid's a brat and so is her mom. Just tell her you'll trade 5 squishmallows for her engagement ring. No? It's too precious, ha ha ha. Maybe they'll stop. Close and lock your bedroom door if they come over again. Kid will try to lift them if she gets a chance. Edit. Wait. Cousin is 21 with a 7-year-old kid? No wonder they're both babies. Am I the butthole for no longer responding to my friend's medical emergencies? I, 30 female, have been friends with my friend Mary, 27 female, for roughly 5 years. We're completely different people who met at work and somehow became pretty close friends. 3 years into our friendship, Mary started becoming sick. No one really knew what was going on, but it all escalated into her passing out at work and needing ambulance to get to a hospital. I could sense she was scared because she didn't know what was wrong with her. I took it extremely serious and stood by her side through it all. Whenever she texted or called me because of her medical emergency, aka her being scared to collapse or faint randomly, I'd immediately answer and go see her. I spent many days by her side and often spent all day accompanying her until her husband or a direct family member took over. This all went on for roughly a year, until she was finally diagnosed with severe anxiety and a panic disorder. She did get it treated through therapy and returned to a new normal, being able to do things alone again. In the meantime, my life had changed drastically. I found a new job, met my now husband, and we moved into our own place. Naturally, we hadn't seen and spoken much during that time because I was so busy. Anyway, I found out that Mary's condition had gotten worse recently when she called me in the middle of the night, asking me to accompany her until her husband would be back from work. I did go to see her, and upon asking her why therapy was no longer helping, she claimed she quit therapy because she wanted to get through it on her own. I asked her if her family knew, but she said she didn't want to worry them, so they don't know. Her husband knows. Well, her calls became more frequent again. But this time, it was hard for me to just leave everything and be there for her. At first I was there for her again, but with time, I just didn't have the energy to do so anymore. Her requests became irrational and more demanding. And while I have sympathy for her and her condition, I see no point in putting up with it if she's refusing proper medical help, let alone help from her immediate family. I started making up excuses why I couldn't help her at certain times. It all boiled down to last Thursday, where I got a message from her at 4 a.m., asking me to take her to her parents' place because she was having a medical emergency. I saw the message but I ignored because I just couldn't take it anymore. In fact, I ghosted her and went back to sleep. The next day I pretended to have slept through her text and found out she had managed to stay at home until her husband got there, but she didn't fail to make me feel bad for ignoring her messages. She's giving me the cold shoulder since. I know she's mad I didn't answer or help her when she needed me. I do feel guilty, but I thought if it really was an emergency she could call an ambulance. So Reddit, am I the butthole for ignoring my friend during another of her medical emergencies? Edit, typo. Not the butthole. Your friend is using you. Suggest she get a caregiver if she doesn't want to go to therapy. She's clearly not getting through it on her own. You're not an emotional support pet. Not the butthole. She's asking you to continue enabling her choice to not seek therapy and more appropriate help. You are allowed to set boundaries and you should set boundaries on this. She's already shown she's only going to get increasingly more demanding. And while we all love our friends and should be there to help them, you likely aren't trained to deal with this. You aren't the best person to be helping her, and your job as a friend is to be her friend, not her makeshift therapist. Not the butthole at all. So many people feel so entitled to make their medical problems other people's responsibilities, whether it may be mental or physical. I also do sympathize with Mary and I understand how much you have tried to help, but she needs to understand that you are not her on-call caretaker. If she wants that, then she needs to look into a professional or a consenting adult that is okay with playing that role. Clearly you have started to put up your boundaries and I commend you for that. She isn't thinking about how this can affect your own physical and mental health as well as those around you like your husband and potential/future pets and children. I would suggest just having a conversation with her about it and how you are not capable of playing this role for her, and although you want to be a part of her life and support her, you cannot be who she calls every time. Not the butthole. To actively give up on a method that was working at getting her better is ridiculously stupid. Now she could be lying about. She claims she quit therapy because she wanted to get through it on her own. And she might have had to stop due to financial reasons, pressure from her husband or something else. If that's the case, it's a sad situation for her, but you aren't the cause, so you don't owe her any of your time. It sounds like you give up your time when you can, which is lovely, but she's definitely the butthole for guilt tripping you when you don't give up your time. Am I the butthole for ordering overpriced pizza over my brother-in-law's objection? I, 33 male, recently got married, in a holiday town about an hour away from my wife's hometown in Australia. 2 nights before the wedding, my wife's immediate family divided off for the evening, with the males and females doing separate activities. My future father-in-law, and 2 future brothers-in-law, 33 and 40, decided to spend the night in my father-in-law's hotel room, for a quiet night in, watching sport on TV, over beers and pizza. I rang the pizza shop, a well-known national franchise, and was starting to place orders for some pizzas. As I was ordering, the youngest brother-in-law asked me what was the price of the pizzas that were being ordered. I told him the prices. He immediately started yelling, "Cancel the order. It's too much." The same pizzas in his hometown, from the same store, cost $5 less. For context, I have a well-paying job, so the price of the pizzas wasn't something that affected my decision about whether to order. It's a holiday town, and so there was going to be a premium for what was already fairly cheap pizza from a no-frills, cheap and cheerful franchise. My Bill lives in a regional town, earns reasonable coin for the area, but has a well-honed appreciation for the value of money, shall we say. I dismissed the Bill's objection with a wave of my hand and said, "Don't worry, I got this," my shout. The Bill kept protesting, but when I hung up the phone, he got up, said I'm not eating that pizza, and made himself a toasted sandwich, which he proceeded to eat, and gave the rest of us the silent treatment for the rest of the night. The pizzas arrived and the rest of us ate it in largely awkward silence. So, readers, am I the butthole? Not the butthole, he's being the butthole. Not only does it not matter about the price when it's your treat and you're paying for it, but for him to throw his toys out the pram afterwards and refuse to eat it is a complete and utter overreaction and childlike behavior. I'd keep an eye on him after your marriage, as that behavior could be a nightmare. Not the butthole. From the way you're telling the story, I don't even see the Bill's point. Cancel the pizza and then stop eating until you're in a cheaper town? If you're not in the town that sells cheap pizza, order the pizza you have access to. Way to ruin the night for the groom for no logical reason. Am I the butthole for paying for my own food in front of my husband's brother? I know this sounds absolutely ridiculous to wonder if you're in butthole about, but please listen on because I am genuinely curious if people think I was in the wrong. So me, 25 female, and my husband 30M Louis got into a fight 2 months ago. It involved him bringing up how he pays for most of my stuff. For some background, Louis's family believes that the man should pay for his wife's things. I only let him pay for my things because he insists on doing it. I am not saying that I am ungrateful, because I truly am grateful. But I don't want to have it thrown in my face that he pays for my things, so since then I've paid for my own stuff just fine. From time to time he tries, but I just stop him and pay for it myself. Last night we were at dinner with his brother, Michael 28 male. It was time to pay, so I ended up paying for myself. This morning when I woke up, Louis was mad because apparently Michael has told his other siblings about what happened and joked about it. Louis thinks that because of my pettiness they now see him as less of a man. I truly wasn't being petty, and I was only doing what I had fell into a habit of, which was paying for my own things. Not the butthole. I would reply back that the only thing that makes you less of a man is this conversation. Not the butthole. I can't imagine being so insecure that you think your wife paying for food makes you less of a man. Good Lord. Not the butthole. He needs to make up his mind. Does he want you to pay or not? Am I the butthole for telling my family I won't be spending Christmas with them because they're way too pushy and demanding of my brother's stepkids? This is my first Christmas as a dad. My wife and I had our son 3 months ago. We spent last Christmas with my family and it was a mess, and we had kinda decided then to drop the whole family Christmas with my side stuff, but becoming parents really helped cement this. I told my family in June that we wouldn't be celebrating Christmas with them this year, but it came up again a month ago and now it's become a fight, because they wanted to know why, when we'd have dinner cooked for us and everything. BG. In 2019 my brother married a widow with 3 children who at the time were 5, 7 and 8 years old and are now 8, 10 and 11 years old. My brother decided he was their dad from that point because their dad was deceased and he started to call them his kids. My parents called them their grandkids. They would refer to my brother as the kid's dad, and my brother's wife did the same. They told the kids to call me uncle and my 2 sisters aunts. I remember it coming up that they wanted to change the kids' names and all. That first Christmas they were married were spent with his wife's family, but they ended up estranged because her parents wanted them to let the kids decide if he was dad or not. But they argued that the kids needed a dad who was alive and able to parent them. I haven't spent a ton of time with them as a family outside of last Christmas, but it was an experience. The kids were corrected for using just our first names, including for using my brother's name instead of calling him dad. My parents, brother and Sil tried to force them into grandkid photos with my 2 sisters' children. They corrected everyone who said my brother was their dad. They also yelled a couple of times that they hated us all. I tried to get my family to back off, but they ignored me. I heard from my parents afterward that the kids had been hurtfully rejecting my brother the whole time and even lied to their teachers about it being just them and their mom and talking about how their dad died. I was like, what do you guys expect? If they have any kind of memory of their dad, and the older 2 would, then they're going to fight against some random dude coming in and claiming it for himself. So when the whole Christmas thing came up again and I was asked repeatedly why, I told them because they are way too pushy and demanding with those kids and I don't want to expose my son to that, and I don't want to watch that. They were horrified, said sometimes you have to be pushy with kids in the family, and how the cousins should know each other. I said his stepkids already hate the other cousins, my 2 sisters' kids, and they don't need another one shoved down their throats to end up being hated through no fault of his own. They told me I was being very rude and very judgmental of them and the kids, and clearly I don't care enough to accept them into the family. Am I the butthole? Not the butthole OP. And you're probably going to be a wonderful father since you're already willing to stand up for kids that aren't even yours. Congrats on your new baby. Not the butthole. You seem to be the only reasonable adult here. I feel sorry for those kids who have not only lost their dad but are also forced to accept a new man into their lives who they should call dad from now on. I understand how you want to protect your own child and yourself from that negativity. Not the butthole. You gave them plenty of notice but they have persisted. They demanded reasons, but when you gave them they decided they didn't like them. You have done well to establish this boundary, as they would expect you to go every year if you went once with your child. As for being pushy, it would only be a matter of time before it's your child who has to conform to their expectations. Family members can get to know each other without your parents being there. Not the butthole. You are seeing all of this very clearly. It seems the children who lost their father aren't being allowed to grieve and will never accept your brother as dad if it's being pushed on them. The biggest here is your brother's wife. She should be protecting them. Are the kids getting grief counseling? I think your brother's family and your parents could all use family therapy. The least you might be able to do is mention it and that they might want to do some research instead of just creating their own reality. However, my experience with people who create their own reality is that they usually aren't open to suggestion. Am I the butthole for not wanting meat on Christmas Eve? Both me and my boyfriend live abroad and can't come to our homes for Christmas. We decided to celebrate it together, and I wanted to celebrate it in traditional for my country way because I'm sad I can't be with my family. It's my favorite holiday and is very important to me. He doesn't really care about Christmas though and doesn't have some strict traditions. In my country we don't eat meat during Christmas Eve, it's a tradition and we always followed it in my home. There's plenty of food though that is amazing and filling. You can't even feel like it's lacking meat. He comes from different country and he wants to have turkey etc. just because he likes meat and wants to have it. I feel like if he agreed to do it my traditional way, then his meal addition is completely interrupting it. I don't mind if he brings other meatless dishes, but the tradition of no meat is important to me. Similarly with sitting to the table at the right time, or opening gifts after the dinner. Just things that I feel like make it special and are tradition. I told him he could have it the next day, like we do, and he could make other things without meat as there are plenty. I'm not vegetarian and I don't mind meat, but I want this one dinner to be like it always was in the traditional way. It isn't as important event for him, he just likes meat. Edit. 1. He would probably buy the turkey, and bring it. It's at my house. 2. I am asking about Christmas Eve, he has no traditions for that day. If anything he usually celebrated Christmas Day when I don't mind it. 3. He can eat it before, I don't care, I don't want it during dinner on Christmas Eve. 4. He agreed to do it my traditional way, but he obviously could have forgot what it included as we talked about them a while ago. 5. He wants to eat it on Christmas Eve because he wants meat, not because it's his tradition for Christmas Eve. It is not a tradition for Christmas Eve. Not the butthole. I'm going to go out on a limb here and assume you are from a majority Catholic or Christian country and this tradition is based on religious observance. Compromise is important in relationships, and so are traditions. It sounds like you want to follow your traditions on Christmas Eve, but are more than happy to go with his preferences on Christmas Day. I'm from a non-observant Christian family of British descent, but I have a Ukrainian aunt. That 12-course meatless, but fish-heavy, meal is now my tradition too, and I'd be bummed if my partner couldn't compromise for one day for something that was important to me. Does he pick the flavor of cake on your birthday too? Edit, added some quotation marks. I'm so rattled at all the WIBTA comments. This is such an easy thing in my mind. You're not monopolizing the whole holiday, just wanting an evening to feel like home. Tradition is lovely, and people that care about you and what you love/hold dear/appreciate should be able to respect that, and you. One meal going meatless is perfectly reasonable. The compromise is that he can do whatever he wants for food the next day. One tradition Christmas Eve, and another Christmas Day. OP, I hope you get things settled and you're able to enjoy your holidays, even if they aren't how you'd normally have them. Not the butthole. Whoa, I feel like I'm reading something completely different than everyone else. I say not the butthole. Your traditional specifically involved not having meat on Christmas Eve. Adding meat to that would completely take away. Also you said you would have turkey and all the fixings on Christmas Day, which I don't know his background, but if North American or for many European countries is the typical Christmas celebration. Sounds like you both can have what you want. Maybe I'm missing something? Sounds like you can both have your traditions. Sometimes I feel like Redditors just hate when anyone says you can't eat meat for a day. Am I the butthole for telling my gran the real reason I moved away? I, 31 female, grew up in a small village surrounded by other small villages. My family on my mom's side all live within 10 minutes of each other and we are all very close. I now stay in a village that's almost an hour's drive away. I moved in with my dad when I was 21 and got a good job here, so I bought my first home here. Now my dad's moved away and for the last couple of years I've been feeling extremely lonely. I'm too far away that my family never come and visit me, and I'm too far away that I don't get included in last-minute plans. My aunt, gran and younger cousin, 23 female, are forever going out for lunch or coffee, but I never get invited to these outings. Of course any significant family event I'm there for. So the other day I was through visiting my gran and I was talking to her about how I feel sometimes. My gran said she could understand and she wished I had never left our hometown but that had been my choice. I told her it was hardly my choice when I was the one who was kicked out my home. I only moved in with my dad because I had nowhere else I could go. My gran asked what I meant and I told her my stepdad had kicked me out when I was 21, so I didn't have a choice and I had to move in with my dad. She went quiet and didn't bring it up again, but later on that night I got a really angry phone call from my mom asking why I was bringing up something that happened 10 years ago. I asked my mom why she had lied in the first place. My gran got upset with my mom for covering up the fact my stepdad kicked me out of the home I'd grown up in and lied to the rest of the family about it. So am I the butthole for telling the truth? How dare you break the illusion that we have spent 10 years perfecting? I am outraged. Not the butthole. Not the butthole. You just shared a fact. Your mom is the butthole for covering it up, which suggests she's either embarrassed about that fact she let her husband kick you out or she regrets it or something. Why else would she want to keep it a secret? Not the butthole. You told the truth, your mom just liked that her lie was more convenient for her. Hope you can make more friends and life is a little less lonely. 3. Would I be the butthole if I bought potty training aim stickers for my male roommate who keeps pissing on the floor? I, 23 female, have 4 male roommates, 22 m, male, 22 24 m and 24 meters. They're all really fun and nice guys and we get along well personality wise. I share a bathroom with 2 of them. Who will call Ethan 24 male, and Brandon, 22 male. Brandon for the most part is pretty chill, super respectful of the shared bathroom space, puts the seat down, cleans when it's his turn, not exactly to my standard but I know I grew up in a house where my mom was super anal about cleaning and he tries, and that's really all I care about. He never leaves an egregious mess, and always cleans the drain. Ethan however never cleans the bathroom, always leave various types of hair everywhere, often forgets to flush, leaves trash on the floor, and has the worst aim imaginable. It's like he tries to piss facing away from the toilet with a blindfold on. Every time Brandon and I scrub the bathroom, the next day, sometimes even sooner, there's piss on the rim, seat, on the outside of the bowl, floor and wall. All over basically. It's like someone exploded a piss monster inside the bathroom. And he never wipes it up. I'll ask him, and he'll be like for sure, I'll do that, my bad. And then doesn't. One time I found literal crap on the floor. Both Ethan and I have brought it up in our roommate meetings, and talked to him independently about this and it'll change for a day or 2 only to return to the same pissy status. The beginning I just dealt with it but it's been 6 months now and I'm fed up. So I found one of those aim here stickers for potty training kids that I planned on buying and putting in the toilet with no further comment. When I mentioned this to Brandon he said it might be a bit rude and would cause more problems than solving them. Male friends I mentioned this to told me that it was rude and that I can't expect a man to sit down to piss. Which I never said but they extrapolated. I'm just over having a piss-covered bathroom. Would I be the butthole for putting potty training devices and stickers in the bathroom? Here's the thing. The men you've consulted are balking at your awesome idea because it might be a bit rude. Hey! You know what's rude? Pissing all over like an untrained animal and expecting other people to clean up after you, or just tolerate wallowing in urine and occasional scat. But no one, in your house, wants to talk about that. Sure the expectations are being rehashed in meetings. But who has said to Ethan, dude you are a rude and filthy motherfricker and I'm not having it? Who has challenged him on his ultimate lack of decency and respect? The time for nicety is way past. This calls for more severe measures and Ethan deserves every bit of it. Yes, buy those piss targets and use them. Keep using them until the problem is corrected for a good week and then revert to it when Ethan forgets to aim. If he's embarrassed, well dude you should be embarrassed. That's the frickin' point. You are embarrassing yourself for behaving like a toddler that never had home training and so now it's on OP, the house mommy, to show you the way. Frick Ethan's feelings. He's unspeakably rude and if he can't learn to live like a human he doesn't deserve to live with them. Hit the bowl or get the frick out. And that's without even going into his failure to clean up after himself. OP not the butthole. Get the targets. Plus a roll of paper towels and Clorox bathroom spray to park on top of the tank. If he misses the target, march him in and point at all the spots and supervise his cleaning of his mistake. He'll learn. That's how all us moms taught our boys. I'm sorry Ethan was raised by alley cats and now it's on you to show him how to be a big boy. Good luck OP. Not the butthole. Grown 24-year-old dude can't properly piss in a bowl? Yeah, get some stickers. Would I be the butthole if I didn't give my friend who's going through a divorce the keys to my house while I'm on holiday? My friend Anna and I are co-workers and almost neighbors. She lives only 10 minutes away from me. For context, I moved where I am now, living alone, after I ran away from my abusive ex. It took me months to find an apartment and I left when he wasn't home. Anna decided to divorce her husband. He's a nice guy, that's what she's saying, but she says they are too different. She started sleeping around, he doesn't know, before handing him the divorce papers, but as far as she is saying, they stopped talking weeks ago. They're still living together until March, but she obviously wants to move away ASAP. I asked her if he is acting okay towards her, if he's not hurting or abusing her and she said yes, but he is very hurt. Since I'm in my home country over the holidays and probably even longer, working remotely from there, she hinted at my giving her a key to my flat so she can get away from him. She said she would pay anything to do that. To be fair, I don't want someone, with a dog, to live in my flat while I'm away and bring over guys to my bed. Anna is clean, reliable and I would absolutely host her if her ex-husband became abusive or while I'm not away, though I have one room. On the other hand, I wish I had someone to offer me their flat when I was desperately searching for one to get away from my ex, but I was new in the country and didn't know anyone. Would I be the butthole? Not the butthole. Your friend does not appear to need a safe space to get away from him. She just wants a place to bring her hookups to. The last thing you need, maybe, is a bunch of people knowing where you live and showing up there looking for sex from another woman. Greater than she hinted at my giving her a key to my flat so she can get away from him. She said she would pay anything to do that. So what's stopping her from paying for a hotel or Airbnb? I can't imagine trying to help myself to someone's home like that. Not the butthole. Not the butthole, don't do it. When you get back, getting her out may not be easy and end up ruining your friendship. Tell her that you value your friendship too much to risk it this way. Not the butthole. Helping someone leave a dangerous situation is entirely different than wanting to leave your husband because you're done being married. Am I the butthole for using religion to get an accommodation at work? I, 28 female, moved to the US last year. About 2 months ago I started at a new company. It is relevant that I am a practicing Muslim, and that I wear hijab, so visibly Muslim. I share an office with a man. The office is very small and the window does not open. Also, the office has opaque walls and a wooden door, relevant. My office mate insists on having the door closed all the time. He says it helps reduce the noise. I would not have a problem with it, except my office mate stinks. To be fair to him, I don't think it's from a lack of hygiene. In the morning he would smell fine, but 2 hours into the workday, I would get headaches from how bad his sweat smells. And he sweats a lot. I tried my best to get him to leave the door open, at least that way the fresh air would disperse the smell, but no dice. I tried talking with HR about the situation, but all they came up with was that he had a medical condition and they could do nothing about it. I sympathize with the dude, I really do, and he is good people, but I just can't handle the smell anymore, so I went to HR and told them that per my religion, I can't be in an isolated space with a man I am not married to. Which is 100% true, it's not like I made it up. So I told them they either had to move my desk, or the door should be open all the time. They don't have the space, so they told him that he is no longer allowed to close the door if we are both there. And finally I could go through the whole workday without having a headache. But now he is pissed at me, and is calling me an for pulling a religion card to get my way. So am I the butthole? Not the butthole. It's a shame you had to use religion to be comfortable in the office. If his smell is so bad it causes headaches, the door should be open. That shouldn't be rocket science. I wonder if HR would like to be in a closed room with him for hours? Edit. Also, don't let people make you feel bad for asking for religious accommodation. They're jerks. Normally I'd agree with him since your religion clearly isn't the reason you need the accommodating since you are fine sharing a space with a man, but I'm gonna go with not the butthole because you really did your best to resolve the situation without embarrassing this sweaty dude and you give him the benefit of the doubt on his hygiene, so you had to do what you had to do your job. If he comments on it again, I'd let him know the real reason you had to take such drastic measures. Not the butthole. It was very clever of you to find such a great solution. He can't help having a medical condition, and you can't help being very bothered by the smell, to the point of having physical pain, headaches. You asked HR for help, and they wrongly refused, so you solved the problem yourself. His preference to have the door closed does not trump your reasonable need to have the door open because his smell is so overpowering and terrible. He is an for not caring that his medical condition is affecting your health and well-being. Ha ha ha, I did not expect to read this. No buttholes here. You gotta do what you gotta do. He shouldn't be so sensitive about it, but at the same time he may have a right to feel a little bit hurt. I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. You are definitely not the butthole in any case. Would I be the butthole for skipping my husband's grandma's Christmas to avoid his sister? Because she left human feces and urine in my house? My sister-in-law Katie, 23 female, lived with my husband and I for about a year. She was living with their grandma Diane, but they had a falling out, so we offered her the upstairs, rent-free. It's just a single bedroom up there, so she had the upstairs all to herself. We only used it for storage. She paid nothing, only bought her own food, but was also welcome to use our food too. This was supposed to last a few months while she saved money for an apartment. Only house rule we had was Katie couldn't bring people over without notice or when no one was home, and never to spend the night. No curfew or anything silly like that. During her stay, her boyfriend ended up homeless. She begged us to let him stay, even offered to pay rent. We said no. The boyfriend was a complete stranger to us. Katie's stay had issues, like her losing her job, constantly needing money from us, and just not taking care of herself. After her being jobless and living on food stamps and our help for 6 months, we finally said she had to find somewhere to go because it was clear we weren't helping her find independence. She finally moved out to stay with her boyfriend's sister. That didn't last long as she's at Diane's again. I have no idea why, but I can guess. While Katie was with us, we never went upstairs ever. We respected her privacy and had no reason to be there. The day she left I went upstairs to find garbage bags everywhere, Old food all over the floor. The floor was sticky, it smelled. I didn't spend long looking, didn't even walk through the door, just left it for my husband to see when he got home from work. Husband took a deeper look. He found the following. Trash bags with human feces in them. At least 10-gallon jugs full of urine. A tote with cat litter and an unidentifiable sludge we guessed was human feces and urine. While leaving this as horrible, I realized something else. Katie must have snuck her boyfriend into the house and he was living up there with her, peeing in jugs and pooping in bags because he couldn't come downstairs to use the bathroom or risk being caught by us. It's the only thing that makes sense. She had no reason not to use the bathroom downstairs and she wouldn't be able to pee in the jugs without a funnel. Now Diane is mad at me because I won't put on my big girl panties to play nice with Katie so she can have a nice Christmas. My husband is going but I just can't. I tried to talk to Katie, she apologized in text for the state of the room but didn't admit to what she'd done for it to end up that way even when asked directly. Her reason was she was depressed. If she had told the truth I would play nice for the sake of Diane. I would suffer through Christmas quietly and most likely drunk, but I don't think I'll be able to look at her. Would I be the butthole for not going so Diane can have a happy family Christmas? Not the butthole, I'd have a hard time not talking about the literal crap she left in your house over dinner and Christmas would be ruined. Ask Diane if that's what she wants. Not the butthole. Tell Diane all about it. Remember, she's heard Katie's version which will be on the lines of I left the room a bit untidy. I'm going to imagine Diane won't want all this coming out, so you kind of hold all the cards here. Not the butthole. I don't think I'd be able to look someone in the eye if they left my house in that state after I let them stay with me rent-free. Whether it was her boyfriend or not, that is still completely ridiculous. You shouldn't have to force yourself to play nice with someone who clearly wasn't grateful for what you did or respectful of your property. Am I the butthole for calling my girlfriend needy for making idiotic questions? I don't feel like I am, but some friends told me I should write this here to get some insight. I, 23 male, have been with my GF, 22 female, for 2.5 years. She is amazing, funny and beautiful, but she got a big problem, she just can't stop talking. She is always talking about anything and everything. But what really gets on my nerves are the hypothetical questions. If we had a cat and a kid, and the cat needed to go to the vet but the only extra money we have is going to buy our kid birthday present, what would you do? If our kid got switched at birth but we only discovered after, what would you do? If you discovered that you only got 7 days left, what would you do? Just random and annoying questions that she wants to have lengthy conversations about. She even has a book that has a bunch of these useless questions. She loves this crap. Even worst, sometimes we fight about these things that never happen to us, like, come on. Well, last week I snapped. I just wanted to have a good time with my girl and she asked what would I do if all the internet and phones stopped working out of nowhere, and nobody knew what was happening. And I just said I would be happy that I would be able to have time off her needy questions, always needing me to say I would look out for her. I just was annoyed and wanted her to stop. She just said my wish was granted and left, because of a simple comment. Maybe I was a bit harsh, but come on. I just wanted a night off and said something unnecessary. She stopped the questions but also is kinda cold with me, and my friends keep insisting I got to apologize, but I don't see why. Finally she stopped the bugging. I just want her to go back to her normal self now. Am I the butthole? You're the butthole. Her annoying questions are part of who she is and how she connects with you. If you find this to be useless crap, you don't love who she is. When you said you needed a break from it, you were telling her you needed a break from her. This was incredibly cruel. If she doesn't dump you, you should do her a favor and break up with her. I don't see how she ever gets past this, even if she pretends she has. You're the butthole. You know, instead of letting it boil under the surface you could have just, this thing, communicated. Is she supposed to smell that it annoys you? It's really not that hard to communicate with your partner, and if it is for you then maybe you're not the right fit for her. Am I the butthole for remind my friend about the cancellation window and continue plans without him? I, 31 female, and my, 34 male, husband have a group of 2 friends, Jake and Jim, 35 and 33, that we do everything together. They are like our brothers. Jake and Jim started a few months back talking about doing a beach trip in the summer, mid-Jan, with their respective partners and us too. It sounded like fun, and as I'm the unofficial trip planner I turned to Airbnb to find a house. I put together a list of 20 plus and we went over them, all 6 of us together, to choose the best one at the best price. They gave me the green light to book. I told them the price, the expectations of paying half by December and half in January, how much plus taxes, all in written in our group chat. The day I make the booking I text them the details and Jim says I didn't know we needed to pay in December. I don't think I have money, to what I reply calmly, don't worry, we have 48 hours to cancel for free starting now, do you want to cancel? He said no, end of issue, or so we thought. Fast forward, yesterday, Jim texts that he doesn't have money and needs to cancel the trip. This is 10 days after the booking, so we would lose the 50% payment already made. I got mad, and reminded him the previous convo, calmly again, because temporary feelings can make a dent in a relationship and I don't want that, and that the money needed to be paid whether he cancelled or not because the cancellation window already closed. He said he needed compassion and empathy and not to say I told you so, but I don't feel he deserves either one of them. Am I the butthole for explaining him again about the cancellation window and that money needed to happen either way for this month? Plus at the end, we are going without him. The rest of us divide the Jan fee between 4 instead of 6 because we don't want to lose the money we paid so far. Not the butthole. A 33-year-old grown man who doesn't know how cancellation fees work and has absolutely no overview of his own finances is insane. Not the butthole. I bet he was hoping for a Christmas present from the rest of you. Info: he needed compassion and empathy and not to say I told you so. Has something actually happened to him you're not telling us? He is responsible for paying, no question, but perhaps you were too blunt at a difficult time? That wasn't an I told you so, FFS. That was you trying to collect the money you clearly warned him he'd need to pay, after you offered to cancel if he couldn't. I'd start telling that one that he needs to pay up front, before the cancellation period ends, to book trips together in the future. That's what happens when you can't be relied upon to hold up your part of a reservation. You don't get trusted to do it later like everyone else. Not the butthole.